Well, hello and welcome to another hardcore Nuzlocke. Today I want to attempt a run of Pokemon FireRed using only Ice types. The last time we did a run in Kanto, I had mentioned how we are very close to being done with the monotype challenges here in FireRed. One of the types that I had mentioned that we have left were the Ice type, and I said I wasn't probably going to do this run because we ran all of these Ice types through Pokemon Emerald, and an overwhelming amount of people were like, no, we want to see this run. So here it is. We're going to go through Kanto with Kanto's ice types and see how this goes. This works out perfectly for me as far as scheduling goes, to be perfectly transparent with you guys. I am working on getting my 3DS set up so that we can start doing some Gen 6 runs, Gen 7, and so on. So we need a quick run so that we can do some behind the scenes stuff, and this is perfect. Now there are a couple drawbacks to this run. If we look at ice types, they are typically found towards the end of the game, middle game, those types of things. There's only 5 encounters for us to find, and as far as the Kanto ice types go, 3 of the 5 have a dual water type. Now, if we actually break down the encounters, we cannot get our first ice type encounter until well after the 4th gym. We need to get our hands on the good rod, which can be found in Fuchsia City. Then we can fish up a Shelder and immediately evolve it into a Cloyster, having our very first ice type. We can also backtrack to Route 6 and catch ourselves a Poliwag, and we can take that to Cerulean and trade it for a Jinx. So I would have to go through the first 4 gyms without an ice type before we can get our first one. After that, in the Self Company, Lapras is a gift Pokemon. We then can beat Koga and make our way to the Seafoam Islands, where we can pick up ourselves a Seal or a Dugong. Both spawn in there naturally, and that is 4 encounters, with the encounter of Seal that would cut off any potential encounter for Articuno, which is the 5th and final ice type. So we don't have a lot of options going through this game. However, having a Pokemon like Lapras that has ice type coverage and can also learn Thunderbolt, that's pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered on this run. But how are we going to get to that part? We could do our traditional egg lock where we put all of these Pokemon in an egg and then run through the game like that. The only downside to that is when we put all of these Pokemon into an egg and then hatch them, we're going to get Pokemon like Shelder and Seal that don't have an ice type, and we have to wait till they evolve. Seal doesn't evolve until, I believe, level 38, and of course Shelder needs a Water Stone, so again we would have to wait until we were well past the 4th gym to get those 2 encounters. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to modify this save file, and we're going to go ahead and give every single one of the ice types as a fully evolved Pokemon in the box, and we'll just grab one after each gym. This way we can use all of the Pokemon throughout the entire run. I know that's going to seem a little odd, but it is the best option in my opinion. I'm also going to allow the use of Articuno in this run just so we have another ice type. I don't think that that Pokemon is going to make or break this run. I boxed all these Pokemon up, hit a random number generator, and out for it spat Dugong here that is named Scoop. It has a hardy neutral nature. All of these Pokemon have random natures, random IVs. They have their level up moveset for level 5. There's nothing going on here crazy. We're just going to use a generic Pokemon, but instead of waiting for the Seal to evolve into a Dugong, we're going to start out with Scoop here. And just like in any run before this one, we have of course named our rival Algorithm, because we are trying to beat the Algorithm both in-game and in real life. As far as the in-game Algorithm goes, I've got this, but the real-life Algorithm, I need your help. You can help me beat the Algorithm by liking the video, commenting on the video, subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification bell, sharing this video with your friends. Any and all interactions with the channel does help out a ton. I do hope you guys had a great holiday season. Mine was very good. Any time away from work is always great. The worst time at the house beats the best time at work, in my opinion, hands down. I also want to thank you guys for the continued support. The channel is looking great. There's nothing else I can say other than let's ride into 2025 very strong. Now, taking on Brock in Pewter City on the surface could be very dangerous. Onyx actually has a rock type move that's super effective against us. We don't have a water type move. I did do some speed EV training on Route 1 because I can't do any special attack EV training until we can get access to Route 24. But as you see, the Geodude went down very, very easy. As a matter of fact, we're going to outspeed and one-shot the Onix as well because they are part rock and part ground type, so I was worried for nothing. Our next encounter is a Jinx named Dizzy. There is a name theme with all of these Pokemon, as there always is. Can you guess it? It has a Rash plus special attack and minus special defense nature. There's nothing special about these Pokemon. I've randomized the IVs and natures, and then given them their level up moveset at this point. Now, technically, the in-game trade location for Jinx is here in Cerulean City. It is, in fact, this guy right here who wants a Poliwhirl for a Jinx. We can't get access to a Poliwag or Poliwhirl until we have a good rod, so though this trade is very early, we still can't do it. Next up for us is the Rival Battle. I want to get access to Route 24 so we can do some special attack EV training, so I lead Dizzy against the Pidgeotto. We outspeed and fire off a Powder Snow that cleanly one-shots the Pidgeotto. Out next for our rival is his Charmander. I do stay in and go for a Lovely Kiss, which connects and puts the Charmander to sleep, so hopefully we can have a safe swap in to Scoop, because we are weak to its fire-type moves and it has Metal Claw. I swap in Scoop, and of course Charmander wakes up to hit us with a Metal Claw, but Scoop is bulky, tanking a critical hit very, very nicely. We do fire off a Headbutt that doesn't quite do half of its health, and then we get hit with another Metal Claw, taking us down to 44 HP. Another Headbutt takes Charmander low, but you will see that Scoop is a very, very bulky Pokemon, and I've slept on this Pokemon to be perfectly honest with you. Scoop is absolutely amazing. The Ice-type run I did of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, this Pokemon was phenomenal. Abra goes down to a single Headbutt, as you know it would. And last out for our rival is his Ratatatatata. The rat goes for quick attack, out prioritizing us, doing a little bit of damage, and Headbutt takes it low into red health. We get hit with another quick attack, down to 21 HP, and then Aurora Beam finishes off the rat. The battle with Misty I'm not too terribly worried about. We resist each other, there's not much that we can do, so I just go for Headbutt turn 1 against the Staryu, and it does a lot of damage. And then for whatever reason, Misty uses Water Pulse. Luckily, we don't get confused, because I didn't expect a Water Pulse, so I put an Oran Berry on Scoop instead of the Persim Berry. A Super Potion fully heals up the Staryu, and then back-to-back Headbutts takes that thing out, bringing out the bulky and kind of scary Starmie. We do get outsped turn 1 and hit with a Swift, but it doesn't do a lot of damage to us, and then Headbutt does about a quarter. This thing does outspeed us, so we get hit with another Swift, and I go for Icy Wind that lowers the Starmie's speed. Now we can outspeed this thing and hit it with a nice little Headbutt down to just over a quarter of its health, and then we get hit with another Swift down to 38 HP, activating our Oran Berry. The Oran Berry really wasn't necessary, but I put it on nonetheless. One more Headbutt takes out the Starmie, winning us a fairly easy second gym badge. Our next encounter out of the box is Lofty the Cloyster. It has a serious neutral nature, and the unfortunate thing about this is there's not a lot of level up moves that it learns. It learns Spikes and Spike Cannon. But until we get to some TMs, this is kind of the moveset that we're stuck with. And of course, Cloyster is burdened by the fact that there's no physical special split, with this thing having a much higher attack than it does special attack. Now on the SSN, we have another rival battle with Algo here. He leads out his Pidgeotto, and I lead out Scoop. We do get out prioritized with a quick attack, tanking a little bit of chip damage before we take out the Pidgeotto with an Aurora Beam. I did forget to give Scoop the Water Pulse TM, and I'm not 100% sure that I want to give it to Scoop just yet. As the Raticate comes out, we fire off an Aurora Beam. It does a ton of damage to the Raticate, and then we get hit with a Hyper Fang that we tank very well. I told you Scoop is bulky. We take out the rat with one more Aurora Beam, and out comes Kadabra. Unfortunately, Kadabra outspeeds us to disable Aurora Beam. That is very annoying. We then get tagged with a Kinesis, which is also double annoying. We do fire off an Icy Wind that lowers the Kadabra's speed, and it does well over half of its health. I'm no longer disabled, so I decide to swap it up, but of course we miss an Aurora Beam. We get tagged with a Confusion. We miss another Aurora Beam and get hit with a second Confusion. I decide to swap out, and out goes Lofty. I forgot this thing doesn't have great special defense, so it takes well over half of its health and damage, so I swap into Dizzy. Dizzy tanks the Confusion much better, and then can take out the Kadabra with a Powdered Snow. Charmeleon comes out and I go for Lovely Kiss, but of course it misses, and then we get tagged with a Smokescreen. The accuracy lowering effects of our rival is very annoying. We do put the Charmeleon to sleep the very next turn and swap into Scoop. Charmeleon actually stays asleep on the swap in, very nice. We get a safe swap in and then hit it with a Headbutt. It immediately wakes up and fires back with a Metal Claw, but we tank it very nicely, firing off another Headbutt, dropping Charmeleon into low red health. One more Metal Claw sitting at 18 HP, we fire off a final Headbutt and take out the Charmeleon. That was kind of a wicked little battle. Lieutenant Surge is next up, and 2/3 of my team is weak to his electric type moves, so of course I lead Dizzy against the Voltorb. Now I go for Powder Snow turn 1, and Powder Snow does a lot of damage, taking the Voltorb all the way down into low red health. It then fires off a Shockwave, and I was very curious to see how much damage this does. It does 11 HP of damage. That's perfectly fine. Surge goes for a Super Potion, and then we get, of course, the back-to-back Powdered Snows to take out the Voltorb. You'll notice that I edged myself close to level 25, so as the Voltorb goes down, we grow to level 25 because Dizzy learns Ice Punch. That is a very nice move, and in this generation is actually a special attack. So, we teach Ice Punch as the Pikachu comes out, and then fire off that said Ice Punch to one-shot it. Unfortunately, it is a contact move, so we do activate Static, getting paralyzed, but our held Cherry Berry cures that off. Raichu then comes out, and we fire off an Ice Punch, taking this thing into low red health, and then we proc Static again. So Raichu misses its follow-up Thunder Wave because we are already paralyzed. We then get hit with a Shockwave from the Raichu, which I was very scared for, but it does 20 HP of damage. We then stay fully paralyzed. Raichu goes for Double Team. We break through all of the evasion and paralysis to finally fire off another Ice Punch that gets a crit that did not matter, winning us a 3rd gym badge. Our 4th teammate is a Lapras named Muck. It has a naive, plus speed, minus special defense nature. This Pokemon is a beast. You guys know it. I know it. And to be honest with you, I only need Muck and Dizzy to get through the entirety of Kanto. Scoop is a great Pokemon, and Lofty, unfortunately, is doing work in the background but isn't going to see much screen time. Now that we're in Celadon, there is a ton of stuff for us to do. The first thing that we're going to do is grab the T-Key item from this lady. This gets us into Saffron, where we can get the TM for Psychic. Dizzy doesn't learn any Psychic moves via level up. It doesn't even learn Confusion in this generation, so the only way that we can get Psychic on it is with this TM. Now we could teach Psychic to Muck, and then go back to Viridian and teach Dream Eater to Dizzy via the move tutor that's just outside on Route 22. But I don't want to rely on Lovely Kiss hitting, so we're definitely going to give Psychic to Dizzy. There's a few items hidden around for us to pick up. There's all of the Rocket Hideout stuff to do, the department store that we can do, get the coin case, HM for Fly, just a bunch of stuff to do here in the mid-game. Next up for the gym leaders is Erica, and her grass types don't stand a chance. I do have water type Pokemon that are weak to grass, but we lead Dizzy and Ice Punch. Ice Punch is the strongest ice move that we have right now. It is going to one-shot her entire team. I don't have the funds to buy an Ice Beam TM, and Muck is actually going to learn it in a couple of levels via leveling up. So, we're holding off for just a little bit. As I said, the Victory Bell goes down to a single Ice Punch. The Tangela goes down to a critical hit Ice Punch. The crit didn't matter. And last out for Erica is her Vileplume. That, of course, gets outsped and one-shot with an Ice Punch. Very nice. The last teammate for us to grab is Articuno. We nickname it Roly, and it has a timid plus speed minus attack nature. Now, if you guys haven't guessed the name theme yet, it's Bob the Builder. I thought that'd be a pretty neat name theme. This Pokemon can't do much. It also is cursed from the lack of physical special split, being part flying and part ice type. Now we head back to the Pokemon Tower in Lavender to take on our rival and really get into the mid-game portion of this game. I did finally teach Scoop the Water Pulse TM. It was a toss-up between Scoop and Muck who was going to learn it, but ultimately Scoop won. We're going to get Surf soon. We're going to take out all of our rivals' Pokemon very, very easy up until the Gyarados. Not only do I need a couple of Ice Beam TMs, but we need to get some funds for a Thunderbolt TM. Again, I was kind of playing fast and loose here in this run. I could have easily taught Muck the Shockwave TM, and we could have had a little bit easier time in this battle, but still things don't go very difficult. As you see, we knock out his first 3 Pokemon very fast. The Gyarados that comes out does give us a little bit of a headache. We fire off an Aurora Beam, and it doesn't quite do half of Gyarados' health, so we have to tank a Thrash, which we tank very well. I fire off an Icy Wind for no other reason than just for some chip, but it does more damage than I thought it would, and then we get hit with another Thrash. Down to 57 HP as this thing becomes fatigued, and we take it out with an Aurora Beam. So sitting at 57 HP as the Charmeleon comes out, we fire off a Water Pulse and easily one-shot that thing, so this battle was not difficult. Next up for the gym leaders is Koga, and this was a hop, skip, and a jump as far as the video goes, but in real life, I have gone across every single route that I can. Route 16 and 17, which is Cycling Road, battling all of the trainers. We went down routes 12, 13, 14, and 15 to Fuchsia. We got the Safari Zone stuff done. Went back to the Sylph Company and battled a bunch of trainers in there to get the team sitting at level 40. We still got a little bit of clearing to do in the Sylph Company, but I wanted the team sitting pretty decent as we took on Koga. With Stab's super effective psychic moves, there's nothing his team can really do to mine, so we're going to easily one-shot and outspeed every single one of his Pokemon. As a matter of fact, I could have come into this battle 5 levels lower and we still would have had an easy time. Sabrina, I think, is going to be the only gym leader that we have a somewhat difficult time defeating. Before we take on Sabrina, though, we need to take out the rival at the top of the Sylph Company. Leading out against his Pidgeot is Muck, and Muck was always my planned counter for the rival. A Stab super effective Ice Beam cleanly one-shots the Pidgeot. Execute is out next, and it too falls to a Stab super effective Ice Beam. Next out is his Alakazam. I don't have anything super effective against this, so I fire off a Surf, leaving Alakazam in low red health. It just goes for Calm Mind, so another Surf takes it out. His Gyarados then comes out next, and this thing falls to a quad super effective Thunderbolt. And last out for our rival is his Charizard, which easily goes down to a Stab super effective Surf. If you have a Pokemon with a physical type move, you can typically beat out Sabrina relatively easy. Lofty is the only physical Pokemon I have on my team, so I'm going to use it. Kadabra goes for Future Sight turn 1 as I set up spikes. I go for a second layer of spikes as Kadabra sets up a Calm Mind. This is so we can one-shot the Mr. Mime that comes out next. We're not going to be able to one-shot it otherwise. Lofty really has done a ton of work in the background. I wanted to give it its time to shine. Unfortunately, it's just outclassed by a lot of our other Pokemon. Kadabra goes down to a single return. Mr. Mime comes out and takes a little bit of damage from spikes, and then we take the Future Sight attack. Still take a ton of damage from that. Jeez. We can outspeed and fire off a return, and with the spikes damage, we one-shot the Mr. Mime. The crit would have one-shot it from full health. We didn't need it from the health it was at. As the Venomoth comes out, I quickly pivot into Dizzy, who tanks a Psybeam on the swap in. We would have easily lost Lofty if we would have stayed in there. We can then outspeed and fire off a Stab super effective Psychic, one-shotting the Venomoth. Our Alakazam is then out next, and I decide to swap into Roly. Alakazam is setting up Calm Minds, which is very dangerous. I then go for Fly, so Alakazam sets up another Calm Mind, but a physical attack in Fly is enough to one-shot the Alakazam, winning us the Sabrina battle. Battling all the trainers on the routes leading to Cinnabar and to Seafoam Islands, as well as all of the trainers in the Pokemon Mansion, and of course this gym, our team is sitting at the level cap. With a Stab super effective move like Surf, Blaine's team does not stand a chance. It is very unfortunate for Blaine that they give you the strongest water type move in existence in Pokemon right before you take on a fire gym. Growlithe easily goes down to a single Surf. Ponyta also goes down to a single Surf. Rapidash comes out and is outsped and does go down to a Stab super effective Surf, and this just leaves the pseudo-legendary Arcanine, which of course is outsped and one-shot with a stab super effective surf. I've shown this before, but as soon as you leave the gym, Bill wants to take you over to the Sevi Islands. You can tell him no, this is completely optional, and you can play these games as a perfect remake of the Gen 1 games. He then goes and waits in the Pokemon Center, so if you want to go do the Sevi Island stuff, you can. After you do the events of 1 Island, 2 Island, and 3 Island, you then get the pass, and you find the boat in Vermilion. You don't actually have to come back here to Cinnabar every time to go to the Sevi Islands. We could go do some training, but I don't really want to do the events. Let's go do a little bit of leveling up and head to Viridian, where we can take on the 8th and final gym leader, Giovanni. Once again, his team is not going to stand a chance with stab super effective surfs from Scoop. The only reason I'm leading Scoop versus Muck in this battle is because surprisingly, Scoop actually outspeeds by 2 points over Muck. So we outspeed the first Rhyhorn and one-shot it with a surf. The second Rhyhorn comes out and it of course falls to a quad super effective surf. Out next for Giovanni is his Nidoqueen. It too falls to a stab super effective surf. Nidoking then comes out next. It falls to a stab super effective surf. And then last out for Giovanni is his Dugtrio, which is surprisingly outsped and one-shot with a stab super effective surf. Immediately leaving the gym, I decide to take on the rival with no further training. I should have done a little bit of training before this battle, but it is what it is. A stab, a super effective Ice Beam does take out the Pidgeot, a Stingle Ice Beam, if you will. Out next for our rival, weirdly enough, is his Rhyhorn, and it goes down to a Stingle Surf. Next out is Execute, who goes down to a Stingle Ice Beam. If you guys missed that in the last episode, that was a single stab, and I just said Stingle, so it's going to be a thing. Alakazam comes out and goes for a Calm Mind outspeeding us, and then a Surf takes it below half. We get lucky and it misses a Disable, so a second Surf takes it out. Gyarados then comes out next, and a Stingle Thunderbolt takes out the Gyarados, and last for our rival is Charizard. Now we do get outsped and hit with a Flamethrower that gets a critical hit, taking us down to 64 HP. A stab super effective surf unfortunately leaves Charizard on a sliver, so I swap into Scoop, who tanks a flamethrower very well because of Thick Fat, and then takes out the Charizard with a surf. Now here's the team all leveled up to level 60 to take on the Elite Four. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, Muck and Dizzy could do this entire Elite Four. Each one of them could do it solo, but Muck can easily take on Lance and Lorelei, and then Dizzy could take out Bruno and Agatha. To do some swapping around and actually use most of my team here, I'm going to break it up and use a different Pokemon in each battle. Unfortunately, Lofty is still not going to have much use in the Elite Four, at least I don't see it. So it is on the team and it is ready for support and backup just in case we do need it. It has been a powerhouse on the team and it does deserve a special mention. Lorelei, of course, is up first for the Elite Four. I lead out Muck against her Dugong. Dugong is a very bulky Pokemon, and as I said before, this is slept on. Dugong is a great Pokemon. It survives a Thunderbolt with a sliver of health. It does try to clap back with a Surf, but we have Water Absorb, so it doesn't do anything. Lorelei then uses up a full Restore, fully healing up the Dugong. We fire off another Thunderbolt that takes Dugong back into low health, and then we follow it up with a Surf to take out the Dugong. Cloyster is out next for Lorelei and doesn't have any special defense, so it falls to a single Thunderbolt. Slowbro is out third. It too survives on a sliver of health from a Thunderbolt and just goes for Amnesia. Since Lorelei doesn't heal, another Thunderbolt takes this thing out. Jinx is up fourth. We go for Surf turn 1, doing well over half of Jinx's health, and then it connects with a Lovely Kiss. That is very annoying. Next turn, it goes for Attract, so now we are asleep and infatuated. We stay asleep and get hit with some chip damage from Ice Punch. Then we wake up, and of course, because of infatuation, we stay infatuated. Another Ice Punch does a little bit of chip. We stay in love for a second turn, and then Jinx puts us back to sleep with Lovely Kiss. This is very, very annoying, and I should have swapped out at this point, but I'm tenacious. Another Ice Punch for a little bit of chip damage as we stay asleep. Another turn of sleep and Ice Punch chip takes us down to 196 HP. One more turn of sleep, and Chip from Ice Punch takes us to 184 HP before we finally wake up and fire off a Surf to take out the Jinx. The reason that I wanted to do this was for a mono-e-mono matchup against the Lapras. We fire off a Thunderbolt turn 1 that takes Lapras into middle yellow health and gets the paralysis. We get hit with a body slam on the return, and we also get paralyzed because why not? Citrus Berry heals up Lapras just a little bit, back up to about half health. Luckily, we do break through the paralysis, though, and fire off one more Thunderbolt to take out the Lapras, winning us a very annoying battle. Bruno is up second for the Elite Four, and I could have led Dizzy in this battle, but instead I decided to go with Roly. This seems a little bit dangerous as we are weak to both fighting and rock-type moves, which his Pokemon have, but we outspeed and one-shot the Onix with a single Ice Beam. Hitmonchan is out next. We do outspeed it and take it out with a single stab super effective Aerial Ace. Now as the Machamp is coming out, we do level up and we do learn Reflect. I decided to teach this to Roly for a specific reason. Because as the Machamp comes out, I know this thing is going to go for Rock Tomb, but not for the super effective move. It's going to go for it for speed control. We do set up a Reflect and then get hit with the aforementioned Rock Tomb. It does a decent bit of damage, but because of the Reflect, we hold on. Even a critical hit wouldn't have mattered. We then do still outspeed and hit an Aerial Ace, but Machamp goes for Bulk Up. I think we're at a speed tie and we won the speed tie because it's not going for Rock Tomb anymore. Citrus Berry then activates, pulling Machamp up almost to half health, but another Aerial Ace does take out the Machamp. The second Onix is out, we still outspeed it and take it out with a single Ice Beam, and then last for Bruno is his Hitmonlee, which does outspeed us and hit a nasty Mega Kick, leaving us at 43 HP after a critical hit, but a single stab super effective Aerial Ace takes out the Hitmonlee, winning us the second Elite Four fight. Oh, there's not much I can say about Agatha and her poison types. I have Dizzy with Stab super effective Psychic. We are going to outspeed every single one of her Pokemon and one-shot them. There's not much that she can do. The first Gengar goes down to a Stingle super effective Psychic. Out next for Agatha is her Golbat. We could have went Ice Beam or Psychic on this one, but I went Psychic to one-shot it. Next out for Agatha is her Arbok. The Intimidate doesn't matter. A Stingle Psychic does take out the Arbok as well. Her Ace Gengar is then out fourth. It goes down to a Stingle super effective Psychic, and last out is her Haunter, which of course falls like all of its friends before it to a single stab super effective Psychic. The Lance battle is going to be just a little bit tricky. He leads out with a Gyarados, and I am leading Muck because Muck has Thunderbolt. We soak up the Intimidate, and then we fire off that aforementioned quad super effective Thunderbolt, one-shotting the Gyarados. What makes this battle a little bit tricky is I know his Aerodactyl is going to come out next. It is fast, it has Stab Ancient Power, so we sit here and clench our teeth as we tank it at just over half. We could have survived a critical hit. I didn't know if that was possible. A single stab super effective Surf does one-shot the Aerodactyl. Very nice. As his first Dragonair comes out, I do swap into Scoop to give it a little bit of screen time, and we get a hit with a Thunder Wave on the swap in. That's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. Dragonair then goes for Safeguard, and we stay paralyzed. That is annoying. Dragonair switches it up for Outrage. This is why I didn't swap Loftian, because that is a special type move, and we would have definitely lost him. Ice Beam one-shots the Dragonair from there. The second Dragonair comes out. It does outspeed us and hit us with another Outrage, not Dragon Rage, Outrage, and we go to sleep to heal up the paralysis and our health. Of course, it is 2 turns of sleep, so we get hit with Outrage twice, dropping us down to 115 HP. As the Dragonair gets confused from fatigue, we wake up and one-shot it with Ice Beam. This puts us in prime position as the Dragonite comes out because we can outspeed it and hit it with a quad super effective Ice Beam to one-shot it and win us the Elite Four. The critical hit did not matter. We've got Champion Algo's number. Against his Pidgeot, we lead Muck. We know how this is going to go. A Stingle Ice Beam takes out the Pidgeot. Rhydon is out second, of course. It goes down to a Stingle Surf. Third out is Executor. It goes down to a Stingle Ice Beam, and that is where the one-shots stop. Alakazam comes out and outspeeds us and hits us with a nasty little Psychic, but we clap back with a decent Surf, doing well over half of its health. We get hit with another Psychic down to 101 HP, and then we can take out the Alakazam with one more Surf. Gyarados then comes out, we soak up the Intimidate, which does not matter, most of our team is special attackers, and a quad super effective Thunderbolt takes it out. Now as the Charizard comes out, I am fearing that it's going to hit us with a nasty little fire move, so I swap into Scoop, who does get hit with a Fire Blast on the swap in, tanking it very well, but it gets the burn. That is annoying. We fire off a Stab super effective Surf, and it leaves Charizard on a Sliver. Luckily for us, Fire Blast miss. We get hit with a little bit of chip damage down to 96 HP. Citrus Berry activates for Charizard, but it's not enough to pull it out of healing range. Algo goes for a full restore. I do a little bit of chip with Icy Wind, and then our chip damage from Burn takes us to 72 HP as we fire off a Stab super effective Surf, taking out the Charizard and winning us the run. That was a really interesting run. The ice types of Kanto leave a little bit to be desired, but if you have an ice type move and an electric move, you can make it through a good portion of this game. As a matter of fact, both Muck and Dizzy could have soloed this, so could have Scoop, honestly. Scoop is a great Pokemon. Lofty did a bunch of work in the back, but as you see right here with the level ups, it's just sitting at level 60, so it hasn't done anything in the Elite Four, because I did edge it close to level 61. It's unfortunate. I want Cloyster to be so much better than it is, but we have to deal with the fact that it has no physical special split, and it has no great access to moves. It does get better in later gens, so I hope to see it in future runs. Speaking of future runs, if we want to get to those and get them done, I've got to end this video. I hope you guys did enjoy this one. As I said before, I needed a quick one so we could do some work in the background, and I'm hoping that the next run you guys love even more. Thanks again for watching. If you did enjoy the video, you know the routine. Leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing if you're new to the channel, and I will see you on the next one.